What's the most obvious lie you've heard from a new recruit trying to impress everyone? Private Jake Miller showed up to our base in Germany claiming he was a former Navy SEAL who'd quit to join the Army for new challenges. First red flag, kid was 18 years old. SEAL training alone takes longer than he'd been alive, practically. But Jake doubled down on his story during our first squad meeting. Yeah, I did 3 tours in Afghanistan with Team 6, he announced confidently. Can't talk about most of it, classified stuff. Our squad leader, Sergeant Davis, just nodded politely. The rest of us tried not to laugh. This kid looked like he'd never been in a fight, let alone special operations. Jake kept adding details. Said he was an expert marksman, could hit targets at 800 meters with iron sights, claimed he spoke 4 languages fluently, even said he trained with British SAS and Israeli Special Forces. The guy started testing him, asked about SEAL team structure, deployment rotations, specific bases. Jake had answers for everything, clearly memorized from movies and video games. Coronado is tough, but the real training happens off the books, he'd say mysteriously. Can't discuss locations or methods. This went on for 2 weeks. Jake spinning increasingly elaborate tales about his supposed Special Forces background. Said he'd parachuted behind enemy lines, conducted classified raids, even claimed he'd met the president. Finally, Sergeant Davis had enough. Miller, since you're such an expert marksman, you can represent our squad in the monthly rifle competition. Show these regular Army guys how a real SEAL shoots. Jake's face went pale, but he couldn't back down without admitting he'd been lying. Sure thing, Sergeant. Been a while since I've had to tone it down for regular competition rules. Competition day arrives. 30 soldiers from across the battalion, including some genuinely skilled marksmen. Jake stepped up to the firing line, looking confident but sweating bullets. First shot missed the target completely. Second shot hit the dirt 10 feet short. By his 5th shot, it was clear this former SEAL couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. The rangemaster stopped the competition. Son, have you ever fired a rifle before? Jake's voice cracked. It's these Army weapons. I'm used to specialized SEAL equipment, different calibrations. That's when Sergeant Davis walked over with a folder. Miller, interesting thing about your background check. Says here you graduated high school 3 months ago, worked at Pizza Hut for 6 months, no military service whatsoever. The entire range went silent. 30 soldiers staring at this kid who'd been caught in the most ridiculous lie anyone had ever heard. But the really interesting part, Davis continued, is this recommendation letter from your high school ROTC instructor. Says you were the most dedicated cadet he'd seen in 20 years. Perfect attendance, top physical fitness scores, natural leadership ability. He handed Jake the letter. Your instructor, Major Peterson, served with me in Iraq. He called personally to check on your progress. Said you had more potential than any recruit he'd trained, but you struggled with confidence. Jake stood there holding the letter, face bright red, waiting for the hammer to fall. Davis put his hand on Jake's shoulder. Son, you don't need to be a SEAL to impress anyone. Your ROTC scores show more promise than half the soldiers on this range, but lying about it makes you look weak, not strong. Report to the range every morning at 600. I'm going to teach you to shoot properly. Your ROTC instructor was right about your potential, but we need to build your skills to match your dedication. 6 months later, Jake won the battalion rifle competition. Not because he was a fake SEAL, but because he'd earned it through honest training and hard work. At the award ceremony, he thanked Sergeant Davis publicly. You showed me that real soldiers don't need to lie about who they are. They prove it through their actions. Davis kept that ROTC recommendation letter in his desk drawer. Every time a new recruit showed up with tall tales about their background, he'd pull it out as a reminder that sometimes the best soldiers are the ones honest enough to admit they're still learning.